All right, what's going on, y'all? So today we are going to be going over my Helium miner that I set up roughly 2 months ago from today's date. The Helium miner is actually right there. Got it right there. So we're gonna go over exactly what I made with the Helium miner, what mistakes I made, and what I've learned from those mistakes, and so on and so forth. But for those of you who aren't familiar with Helium, we're gonna go over Helium right now. Helium is powered by the people. It is the people's network, guys. So pretty much they are trying to start a wireless revolution powered by the Helium blockchain. So the people's network pretty much represents a paradigm shift pretty much for decentralized wireless infrastructure. So pretty much what's going on is Helium is trying to tackle the world of wireless communication via phone services, Wi-Fi, things like that. So they're going the wireless digital route with attacking that issue as far as things with like 5G goes, roaming, and just connectivity and communication in the world. They're trying to bring it into a more decentralized manner and pretty much give power back to the people, and that's why this network is ran by the people and it is for the people, and that's why it's called the People's Network. But before we get into my miners earnings and whatnot, if you guys want to see that, definitely skip ahead in the video. I'm pretty sure I'll have some kind of like little things at the bottom for you guys to timestamps for you guys to skip forward. But anyways, guys, here is some news on Helium actually has been recently going on, which is very interesting news and great news. As you can see, they had their Dish partnership, and just recently they had the Dish first major carrier deploy the Helium 5G. So they have the 5G carrier out there. They also have the roaming partner announcement. And then there's the other roaming announcement with the partnership with CNET. And then there's the smart city for San Jose, the first city to launch on the People's Network. So Helium has definitely been on the move here. And that's just another reason as to why I honestly believe that Helium is going to be very successful in the future as they continue to pretty much implement more real world use, and they're getting real world partners with actual physical businesses and actual physical locations and cities. So with that being said, I honestly believe that Helium is going to be a great investment for myself in the long term. As you guys all know, none of this is investment advice. I am not a financial advisor. I'm just simply stating that personally for me, I believe that Helium is going to be a great investment. So about 2 or 3 months ago, I did this video right here, which was an introductory video on Helium, and the amount of hotspots, as you can see, was 132,319, and it was up 3,900 hotspots on the 30-day trend. And now we are way past that, and you're about to see here. Alrighty, so now this is the updated amount, which is 415,694 and still trending upwards, guys, at a plus 82,851 on the 30-day trend. The market price has also gone up to $32, and it has actually touched a high in the $50 range, somewhere around there. I'm not exactly sure exactly where at in the $50 range it topped out at, but we'll see that later on in this video when I pull the chart up. But yeah, guys, as you can see, these numbers are currently continuing to increase, and it's only been about 2-3 months, guys, and it's increased this much. So I'm pretty sure Helium will see 500,000 hotspots hopefully by the end of this year, but if not by the end of this year, by the start of 2022 in January. So that is going to be very exciting to see Helium cross that threshold. They'll be halfway towards 1 million. And one quick thing I want to touch down on is that a lot of people actually have a problem with the amount of hotspots that are being onboarded because it's affecting their earnings. But what they're not seeing is that, for one, the world is a massive place, guys. So we're obviously gonna need this many hotspots. We're gonna need a lot of hotspots to pretty much cover like vast ranges of area in the world. You know what I mean? And Helium is trying to pretty much like advance technology forward. They're not really concerned with our earnings. I mean, they are to an extent, but what they're trying to do is bigger than that. So a lot of people who are like kind of getting a bit upset about like more miners popping up in their area and the mining getting a bit more competitive need to actually look at it from a bigger perspective, in my personal opinion, because this is more about like pretty much advancing humanity forward than it is just us putting money in our pockets. I mean, us getting money in our pockets is awesome and all, but if you guys are really here for the technology, or you're really here for like the advancement forward while also making a profit, kind of like how I am. I'm all down for making profit, but I'm also down for making sure that we are pretty much moving forward and we're making better ways to go about the way that we handle technology and we handle our lives going forward for future generations, because I do have kids. So anything that's going to make my kids' lives better possibly that I can support now, I'm obviously going to do that. But anyways, guys, I don't want to go ahead and rant about that for too long. So let's go ahead and talk about this Bobcat Miner. So this is the Bobcat Miner that I received 2 months ago. Keep in mind that I did wait, I think it was like 4 or 5 months before this even came to me. So I ordered it way at the beginning of this year and didn't get it until about October. So I waited a good little bit. But so this is the Bobcat Miner. I paid $500 for it. As you can see down here, there's a 20-week to 28-week, so it looks like they might have increased that weight now. But anyways, here is how much the miner has earned right here. We have earned 3.17 helium, which comes out to approximately right now $102.69. Keep in mind, this amount was way more when helium was up at the $50 range, and that's what I'm going to go talk about right now. So first things first, when getting into my hotspots earnings, so far I have gotten 20% closer to an ROI, which is the return on my $500 investment. So right now we're at $100, so that's 20% of $500. So we're definitely getting there, and that's decent for me in my personal opinion, considering that we've only been mining for 2 months. Even less than that, considering that about a week to 2 weeks when I first started, I was having issues with connectivity, so I wasn't earning anything during the following week or two after I uploaded the video. And then after that, there was a few days here and there where the Helium network was actually having connectivity problems, and the network was like kind of going down in certain areas. And one of the areas that were affected where the area where my Helium miner just happened to be. And Helium pretty much post a list of that, and they keep it documented on their website if you guys want to go ahead and check that out. But I'm pretty sure we would have made a little bit more helium than what we did. But also another thing to keep in mind is that whenever I put my hotspot up in my specific area, I'm not going to share the map for my area because that's my area, but when I put my hotspot up in my specific area, there was way less hotspot miners in my area, and that has increased by about at least 30%. So there's definitely a lot of more people in my town that are starting to get helium miners, and that's actually good for me because before I was kind of a lone wolf, but now I have about like 6 or 7 helium miners that have all popped up in my general area over the past 2 months, and I'm expecting that to kind of increase as more and more people are getting their batches from wherever they ordered their helium miners from, which is going to be a good thing, as I stated before. So with that being said, I'm definitely expecting to make a little bit more on my earnings in the future, because before I was only getting a witness from one miner that was a few miles away, and now that has increased to about 4 or 5, I think. So now I'm getting 4 or 5 other miners that are witnessing and shooting beacons out there and stuff like that. So that's definitely going to be interesting to keep track of. And another thing that I do want to talk about is the way that helium is actually moving up in price. So right now we're at $102.69, but let's say helium decides to run up about 10% from here. That's going to move this amount up 10%. So that's why I'm not really too concerned about this, because in the long term, I honestly do believe that we will see a $100 helium, if not more than $100. So pretty much as I plan on holding this for the long term, I'm expecting this amount to be worth way more, because if I have 3 helium right now and it goes to $100, that's 300 helium from this $100 that it's worth now, and that's just the way I'm looking at it. So one thing that I actually did do that I believe helped my miner out was actually moving to the 8 dBi antenna that I finally ended up getting in the mail, and here is my old 4 dBi antenna that came stock with this, and it wasn't really doing much. But the second I put that 8 dBi up and I stuck it to my window and got that all set up, I started seeing a nice increase in my range. So I was able to reach hotspot miners that were a bit further out, which is where those other hotspot miners started coming in. And I also started seeing my mining earning rewards start rising up as well. And also, I had a few days where Helium was like just like the network was just ramping up, and I was making a lot more than I usually would for a few days. So I had a few days where I was up maybe about like 3,000%, 3,500%, and other days where I was up like 330%, 400%. So that's also awesome too, because there's going to be those days where everything's just like fluctuating differently. And as time continues to go on, there are going to be more factors that are going to be playing a part in that. And hopefully we can start earning some more helium in that sense as well. So there is that aspect of mining. And there is also another miner that's actually near my miner that actually started just a few, like it started literally a month ago. So I've been running my miner a month longer than this miner, and this miner has amassed $436.58 worth of helium, which is 13.462 helium within 30 days, whereas mine has been up for 60 days and has not even earned that much. So what I'm saying here is, as you can see up here, this miner is actually elevated up 4 meters higher than what my miner is. Right now, my miner is at 4 meters above the ground. This miner is at 8. So once I can get into a location where I'm actually capable of rising my antenna, I believe that I will start making more helium, because we both have the same DBI and we're both in the same general area. So pretty much, guys, it's all about how high up you can get your miner and how far you can get your reach as far as connectivity and that antenna goes. So that's definitely something to keep in mind as well. But as I said before, I'm not really concerned about the short-term gain. I mean, it would be nice to have 13 helium right now, because that would just be more for the long term. But I'm here for the long term, so however much helium I can get is however much I can get. I'm just excited to be mining, you know what I mean? So that's that for that part of my helium journey. Next up, we're going to talk about some mistakes that I made and some things that I know that I can do better, but I'm not doing at the moment. So the first 2 or 3 mistakes that I want to talk about, they're not really mistakes, but they're just personal decisions that I'm making for right now because of my own personal situation. But the first one is the connectivity. Right now, I'm connecting my helium miner to the network just through Wi-Fi, just wirelessly through Wi-Fi. So if you have the ability to actually hook up the, I think it's like the HDMI, I think that's what it's called, whatever this cord is here. Yeah, HDMI cord. Yeah, guys, I'm having like a brain like just shut down right now. I don't know why I get that every now and then. If you guys know what like kind of medical condition it is, let me know, bro, because that's freaking me out a little bit, because it's been happening a lot lately. But anyways, if you guys have this cord and you can connect it directly to your Wi-Fi port, and you can get that, then you'll have a more strong and a more consistent connection to your Wi-Fi, and your miner pretty much won't be having to fight with anything else in your house to get a consistent, a constant connection to the internet. And that is going to tie me into my next subject, which is port forwarding. So I didn't really know exactly how to port forward when I first set my miner up. So for the first couple of weeks, I wasn't on a decent connection as far as that goes, and because I wasn't port forwarded, I was having connection issues where my miner was actually going from green, which is good, to red, which means it's not working at all, and then it would go to yellow, which means it's somewhat trying to get caught up, and then things like that. So there's also that went into the whole issue with earnings and stuff that kind of chopped my earnings up a little bit. So port forwarding can help get your miner on the network if you're having issues. Like I have a wireless connection company out here in my area called Cox, and the way that their internet company is set up, they kind of give you issues with other third-party things like a Bobcat Miner connecting to your internet, and they will purposely try to like kind of firewall block that off from being connected. So what you have to do is you have to port forward to get that connection. From my understanding, this is just from what I've learned personally. So if I'm making any mistakes here with my wording or anything like that, guys, definitely correct me in the comments below, because I want to get the right information out there. But pretty much I think those were the only real two issues other than like the height issue, but I can't really do anything about that. So those were the three, and that's all I've really had problems with. There are some other things that I want to talk about here soon, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump over to those now. So the next thing that I want to talk about for those of you who actually do have miners or plan to get one in the future is your resources. So use resources to your ability, guys. So if you have a Twitter account, there's miners that are on Twitter. There's people that are mining helium on Twitter that you can pretty much talk to. There's groups on Facebook that have been very helpful for me. And what I mean is I actually found out about this diagnoser right here. So pretty much you would go into your computer browser and you would type in your miner's IP and you would just put it in there, just type it in. You would hit enter and it would bring you up to the diagnoser website for the Bobcat Miner. And it'll tell you exactly how much you're synced right here. And this gap, so pretty much right now we have a negative 84 gap on the chain. So we're pretty much caught up right now. We're beyond caught up right now. So this will pretty much kind of tell you exactly where you're at. It'll tell you the temperature of your miner. It'll tell you other information too here, as well as it'll give you a speed test. You can resync your miner from here. You can reboot it. You can fast sync it, and you can do a lot of things. And the fast sync definitely helps whenever you're trying to set your miner up. But this is something that I did want to share with you guys before I continued on here. But anyways, now that we're past that, let's go ahead and jump onto the chart really quick before we close out. All right, guys, so here is the current price of helium. Helium is currently trading at $32.58. It is down a negative 2.7% at rank 51. So as we continue to scroll down here, we'll check out the chart here, and this is currently where the chart is chilling at right now, guys. So right now with helium, this is pretty much what I'm looking at just for like a quick short-term range. If we do try to continue this trend down and it's a sharp trend down like this, then we'll be looking at a helium price that is probably going to be declining under $30 very, very soon if this downtrend continues on the way that it's been going. If we continue on this trend upwards that we're trying to make right here, and we're trying to push this trend upwards, as you can see, the trend upwards is just about as sharp as the trend downwards. So we are at a very pivotal time in the crypto market in general, guys. If you look at Bitcoin, it's looking very similar. So pretty much what I'm seeing here is we're going to have some decent resistance here around the $35 range, of course. Once we cross through that, then the next level of resistance that we should see is going to be between this $38 and $40 range. So we'd probably be trading a bit sideways between here and around the $36 to about $38. Maybe we'll see some highs around $39. And once we get that nice push and we can actually breach this $40 range, there's not really much resistance between this $40 range until we get about $44, $45. So after that, guys, it's game on from there, and that'll be a big indicator for many people that the bull market is continuing, because I'm pretty sure if helium's pushing those prices, that the rest of the altcoin market and crypto market in general is pushing similar prices, and the price action is moving forward. So if we get that kind of confirmation, I'm thinking that the end of cycle buzz may have some trueness to it still, maybe not completely to what it was, to what people were hyping it up to be, but it may still have some sort of nice returns towards the end of the year as people are starting to kind of slow down with their tax loss selling. If they haven't done that already, I don't see why they wouldn't have already sold out. But we're going to definitely see a lot more selling coming towards the end of the year. So we may see some more downward price movement. But at the same time, there may be some people who are actually trying to get into the market during these very, very volatile times. As if this is the low, then this is pretty much the best time to get in on my personal, in my personal opinion. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much what I'm looking at for that right now. So what I want to talk about now is the helium price with my miners. So as you can see here, we have the calculator right here. So I have 3.17 helium currently, and this number is moving up daily. So keep that in mind as well. So let's say I'm getting that every 2 months because it's been 2 months and that's what I've gotten. And that's with like on and off connectivity and whatnot. So if we had a solid, maybe we'd be at a whole 4 or 5. But for right now, we'll go with that every 2 months. So 12 months out of the year divided by 2, which would be 6. So we're going to go with every 6 months, we are going to end up with 3.17 helium, which is going to have us at about 19 helium by the end of next year. And if helium actually does hit that price of $100, then we would be at $1,900. But let's say it doesn't hit the price of $100, we would probably, let's say it stays where it is now, 32.64, we would stay at about $620, and I would break even and be in a little bit of profit. I'd be in about $120 worth of profit and by the end of next year, which I'm completely okay with because I have a long-term view on this, and by long-term I mean like 3, 4, 5 years plus, guys, if there's no changes to the network as far as mining goes. So that's pretty much what I'm looking at today, guys. So that's all I've got for today's video. If you guys like my content, definitely leave comments in the comment section below. I really appreciate the positivity that you guys be sharing in there. And also, if you guys have any questions on the helium mining thing or on helium in general, leave them in the comment section below, and I'll try to the best of my abilities to answer those questions. But anyways, guys, if you made it this far in the video, really appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one.